Hey guys, Peyton Snaback here again for another DVD and Blu-ray update. Um, I got 12 movies here to talk about. I got 7 Blu-rays and 5 DVDs. Yep. So as usual, I'm going to start off with the Blu-rays first and then the DVDs. Um, so the first one here I got on Blu-ray. This is one I got to go see in theaters, and I wasn't quite sure what I was going to think about it, but really, it honestly really wasn't that bad of a movie. But it was a movie called that starred Halle Berry called Never Let Go here on Blu-ray, and it's basically kind of like it's sort of in a way kind of like the movie A Quiet Place, which I'm going to be talking about the A Quiet Place movie in a minute. But it's basically Halle Berry, and she's got 2 kids. Basically, they live like in the middle of the woods, basically. And thing is, they can't go out. They can't get out. Basically, if they go out, they have to tie themselves up with a rope, and if they get off this rope, like a monster will come after them. That's mainly what it is. But I thought this movie was really creative. Thought it was really interesting too. Has on here for special features. There's some deleted scenes, theatrical trailer, creating Mama's house, and the making of. So yeah, really interesting movie here. Definitely check this one out if you guys haven't seen it. The next one here I got was A Quiet Place Day 1 here on Blu-ray. This was technically kind of like the spin-off, so really there was no connection to like the other 2 movies whatsoever. So it was basically kind of like doing its own thing. It's basically, I think, Lupita Nyong, I want to say that's her name. It's basically her character who has cancer, and she's at this like kind of like home where and sometimes at this home they do like outings here and there, and she goes on the one outing, and of course that's when the monsters are these like monsters come out, and of course these monsters, like if you make any kind of noise, the monster will come get you. It's basically sensible to sound, basically. But I thought this was pretty neat. I don't know exactly like if it's supposed to be like prequel or I don't know what exactly, or if it's like a spin-off or what. But I thought it was worth watching though. As A Quiet Place Day 1 here on Blu-ray, which I know there's going to be a part 3 coming out. So technically, wouldn't technically this would be part 3? I mean, I don't know exactly. So but it was pretty interesting overall. The next one here is the first Omen here on Blu-ray. I know these were like new release ones I've gotten months ago. I just been way behind on stuff, but the first Omen. This is technically the prequel to the original Omen movie. It's mainly about this woman who goes this American woman who goes to, I think, Rome. Yeah, she's a Roman. She's working at this like church. It's basically kind of like basically what happened before the events of the Omen movies. That's mainly what it is. This movie was really effective though. I personally liked it. I liked, because honestly, when it came to the original Omen, I did not really get. I thought it was a great movie, but I mean, it's just like, this is one of those ones I don't watch a lot. I like the second one a little bit. The second one was more kind of like had that vibe to the movie Orphan. I like that one, and I really love this one. I thought this one was like absolutely outstanding. And definitely check this one out if you guys haven't. The next one, this is one I've already had on Blu-ray, but I had it in kind of like one of those things where, like, back in the day when I think it was Dollar General, I think Family Dollar had them in those kind of like cheap cases. I kind of wanted to get it in like an actual like Blu-ray case itself. And this was the movie Toy Story 2. Of course, this is the sequel to the second, or the first movie. This is mainly it was mainly the doll Woody. It was him basically trying to save this toy, this penguin toy that goes into the yard sale. And when he does that, he ends up getting kidnapped by this guy, who's like obsessed with like the show called Woody's Roundup, and it's basically him wanting to take him and all these other toys from that show to I I think it was Japan. They were going to take him to its bait, and it's the other toys trying to save him. Basically, I've always liked the Toy Story movies. The fourth one was okay. I am pretty interested, however, to see what they do with the fifth one. Yeah, that is Toy Story 2 here on Blu-ray. The next one here I got, this is from the Warner Archive Collection. And it's Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf here on Blu-ray. This one was a pretty interesting one as well. This was mainly... this was actually a team. This is like way before, they started coming out with the direct-to-video Scooby-Doo ones. This was actually basically, I think, 89 or 88. This movie came out 88. 1988, there we go. It was mainly a TV movie. It was basically Shaggy turning into this werewolf, and it was basically Dracula was turning Shaggy into this werewolf, and basically because he's like part of the family, or like the monster family, and in order for him to change back, he's got a race of Dracula. That's mainly what it was, but really interesting, and it looked okay on Blu-ray. Not amazing, but my favorite Scooby-Doo movie, of course, it was two movies that were always my favorite. One was Meet the Boo Brothers, because it always kind of reminded me of like Casper, the ghosts in that one. It always kind of reminded me of like Casper's uncles in that one, because at the time I thought it was like a spin-off to Casper, or like a crossover. That and Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase. Those two were always my favorite ones to watch. But that is Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf. The next one here I got is ultimate classic, the Goonies, here on Blu-ray. I had it in a triple pack with this, along with the Gremlins movies, but I wanted to get them in the standalone pack. Of course, if you have not seen it, I feel like everyone has seen it, but if you haven't seen it, it's basically, it stars Sean Astin, and it's a group of, it's his friends, them trying to find this pirate ship and all this gold and treasure. That's mainly what it is. And everyone's seen this one. It's just an ultimate like classic, and of course, a part 2 is being in the works of. The last one on Blu-ray I got. This one was actually kind of interesting. But it was called Project Alf here on Blu-ray. This is actually the very first time it's ever came out to Blu-ray. The Blu-ray's been out for a couple of years now, but it looks pretty decent on Blu-ray. This is basically, because if you haven't seen Alf, well, I feel like I'm like the only person so far at the age of 27 in modern day that has watched the show and heard of it. Because I remember I would always talk about Alf in school, and most of the kids would be like, "What? No, I don't know what that is." But of course, you haven't seen Alf. It was the show was mainly him crashing down to Earth, and he's with the Tanner family, causing all kinds of trouble and mischief. But this one right here, this is basically the TV movie. This came out a couple years after the series ended. It was basically the conclusion of like the series finale, because when the show ended, like it ended on this very weird cliffhanger. And this is kind of like basically the conclusion, like all those answers about what happened after that. Not a perfect, not perfect, but it's cool to get like those answers of like what the hell happened, But pretty interesting though. Feature-wise, I think it's basically the same features like the old DVD had. Like basically a commentary with Paul Fusto, who was the voice of Alf, and then a photo gallery. That's mainly it. Alright, now on to the DVDs. The first one on DVD I have. This one, I was really interested in checking out because I do love the movie that with Michael Douglas and Glenn Close that came out. I don't know, I could not get... There's just something about, like, when they turn these, like, classic movies into, like, TV shows, I cannot get into that. But it was the Fatal Attraction TV show. It says season 1, but I think it was canceled after the first season, so... This is basically, based off, the 1987 movie that came out. Like, when I watched, the I Know What You Did Last Summer TV series, and I cannot wait for the movie to come out in just a few months. And by the way, like I could not get into that. I tried my best. I watched every episode of it because I kind of wanted to know like what their twist was and everything, like who the killer was in that one. I think it was like after like season 2 or episode 2, I was just like, I'm done with this. But then months later, I tried finishing it, and I did. But this one, this is basically Joshua Jackson. Basically, he's basically the Michael Douglas character, and it's Lizzie Kaplan. She's basically Glenn Close's character, which I mainly know her from Mean Girls. I don't know I can't remember what her name is. She was the one that Lindsay Lohan became friends with. But it's basically the same thing as the movie, but it more longer. You know, Lizzie Kaplan's character being obsessed with Joshua's character, basically has an obsession with him. That's mainly what it is. It's okay, but really, you know, a TV series was not really necessary. But you know, it was all right. This one right here, you actually saw me unbox this on Monday, because when I got it from Streamily, because it was actually autographed. I actually watched it. I think last night. You know, it brings back a lot of memories. But it was Barney Let's Play School here on DVD. It's something I did not really need. Of course, it's actually signed by Bob West, who was the voice of Barney. Well, I didn't really need his autograph because I already met him through a cameo call a couple years ago. But the only reason I got it because I just love getting like physical media stuff autographed. That's just my thing. I like that. But this was one of the ones I did in fact remember watching back when I was little. Because I of course, you know, I remember having like a bunch of the Barney tapes. I remember this was one of the ones I had. This one was mainly, I think it was Baby Bop. Okay, it's mainly her having to pretend school. Because she never went to school, and basically the kids go on these like adventures. That's mainly what it is. I said I didn't really need it, but again, the autograph. But it was really interesting watching that again. The next one here I got. I'm gonna try to get this upgrade to Blu-ray at some point. I remember seeing it a long time ago, but it was called #Horror here on DVD. Really interesting one. About these girls getting killed off one by one by a mysterious killer. The next one here we got is Like Mike on DVD. This is another like you know, modern day classic. Mainly it's Little Bow Wow. It's basically him and, you know, of course Jonathan Lipnicki's in the movie. It's basically him in this foster home, and gets this box of donations, and inside this box was these shoes, and of course, you know, had they were Michael Jordan's shoes, of course. Basically, when he wears these shoes, it's basically, I think the shoes get electrocuted, and then when he puts them on, he can basically do all kinds of like tricks with these shoes, like make these like craziest like basketball tricks and everything. It was really interesting. I've always loved this movie. It's just another part of my childhood. Hopefully, one point maybe this will come out to Blu-ray. The last one here I got. This was actually one of the movies. Because Mom had like she has a bunch of movies. I picked some of the ones I kind of wanted to keep. This was one of the ones I wanted to keep, and I watched it a handful of times. And it was a pretty interesting movie. It was actually her favorite too. It's called Cleveland Abduction. It was mainly based on a true story. And it stars Taryn Manning and Raymond Cruz. It was based on the true story, basically about Michelle Knight. You know, if you guys don't know that story, it was basically Michelle Knight. Basically, she was kidnapped by her friend's dad, and you know, like tortured, and basically she was like kidnapped for like 11 years, and he kidnapped like 2 other women. I think one of them was Amanda Berry. I think the other girl's name was Gina De Jesus. I want to say that's her name. But that's mainly what it was. It was actually based on a true story that happened like 20 years ago. I thought it was pretty. I thought this movie was pretty good. It's really interesting. You know, the craziness that these girls had to go through. Um, yeah, I do believe this is a burn on demand. I could just tell because the way it looks, because it's like blue on the, or yeah, bluish on the back and everything. But I want to say it is actually burn on demand. But I think that's the only way you can get it. I believe. I'm not sure exactly, but just from the way it looked, the way the disc looked, you can definitely tell. But that is it for this DVD and Blu-ray update. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.